Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 26 of our Python series, and today we're going to be learning about while loops in Python. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So what is a while loop? A while loop runs code repeatedly as long as a condition is true. Let's create a while loop. So let's start by creating a variable. Let's call it count and we'll set it equal to 1. And then we'll say while count is less than or equal to, let's say, 5. Notice we have while count is less than or equal to 5. This is called our condition. And then we have a colon. Then when we press enter, our IDE will automatically indent inside of this while loop for us. And now we can perform a piece of code that we want to execute repeatedly as long as this condition right here is true. So if we do print, let's say count, and then we could say count plus equal to 1, so it keeps getting incremented as long as this condition up here is true. If we run our code, we will actually see this being performed. So you can see it prints out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now that we know how to create a while loop, guys, let me walk through what's actually happening throughout this whole code. Alright, so a thing we want to know about loops or while loops, guys, is the condition. So notice a while loop has this format, guys. So we have while, the while word, it should be all common, followed by a condition, followed by a colon, and then an action. Notice that we're supposed to indent the action that we want to perform. So what this piece of while loop is doing, guys, Python is checking this condition right here. Notice we have our variable count initialized to 1, and we're saying count should be less than or equal to 5. So we're basically saying as long as the count is less than or equal to 5, print the count or the number inside of this variable. And here is the reason why it is important to update our variable, guys. Because if we did not say count plus equal to 1, what would happen is we would create something called an infinite loop, in which Python would basically continue to print out 1 all over and over again. It would never stop, right? So let me actually show you guys an infinite loop. So if I commented this piece of code right here and then I run it, what would happen is 1 would get printed out forever. So you can see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and it just keeps going and going on forever. So in order to prevent this piece of code from being executed infinitely based on our condition, we have to increment the variable to actually make this condition up here become false to stop our while loop from executing. So notice that we uncommented right here. Now if we run our code, it will just print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's let it count to 10. We can run the code again, and you can see, wait, let me run it one more time. You can see it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's some basics of the while loop, guys. Now guys, if you notice something about the while loop that we created, if we run our code, you can see that it is counting upwards. Instead of counting upwards, we can also count downwards. So let me demonstrate this to you guys. Let's say, notice that we're currently counting upwards from 1 to 10. Suppose we wanted to count downwards from 10 to, let's say, 1. What we could do, we could actually update our variable, and then we could change our condition a little bit or tweak it a little bit. So let's set the count equal to, let's say, 10, and then we'll actually reverse this condition. So we'll say while, let's say, count is greater than or equal to, let's say, 1, then we'll simply print the count, but instead of incrementing it, guys, or adding 1 to it each time, what we'll do this time is we'll do a minus equal. So the minus equal will simply minus 1 each time until this condition right here becomes false, and then it will exit our while loop. So now if we actually run our code, guys, let me actually look at this. You can see it is going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just like that. And that's literally how we can actually count downwards, guys. Suppose we wanted to count from 5 down to 1. We can simply update our variable 5, and then when we run our code, you will see that it says 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Awesome. Now remember that if we do not modify the variable inside of our condition that we're counting in or printing the count in, we will create something called an infinite loop. So to prevent this, wait, let me demonstrate this to you guys first. So I'll comment out this piece of code that's counting downwards, and it will just print out 5 forever when we run it. You can see right here, it's just going on and on and on forever. So to prevent this, we have to always update the variable inside of our condition so that it becomes false, and our loop doesn't keep running forever and ever or infinitely. So if we uncomment our code, we run it now, you see it prints 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's how you count downwards. Alright guys, let's use a while loop with a string. So let's create a variable, let's call it word, and we'll set it equal to the string Python. And then we'll have a variable count, we'll set it equal to 0, and now we'll create our while loop. So remember, while, then we have our condition right here, and then we have an action that we want to perform. But remember to always indent, so we add a little bit of spacing, but our IDE or code editor automatically does that for us, so we don't have to worry about that. So let's actually finish this program. So we can say while, let's say count is less than 3, then what we could do is we could say print word and then count plus equal to 1. And if we run our code, you will see the word Python gets printed out 3 times. So let's see what happens. Python, Python, Python. And that was printed 3 times. Let me prove this to you guys. We can print count along with the word, which is our string. And you can see we're printing Python 3 times. The reason it's counting from 0 is because our variable starts from 0. So what we can do, we can add 1 and it will actually show 3 times this time. So 1, 2, 3. And that's literally how we actually use or print a string with our while loop, guys. Let's say we wanted to print the word Python, I don't know, 5 times instead. We can come right here. We can change this 5 right here. And then when we run our code, you see Python gets printed 5 times. And that's how we print a string or use a string with our while loop. Now guys, a common beginner mistake. Suppose I deleted this line right here. I run the code, and now you'll see the program running forever. And you're wondering what's going on as a beginner, right? Remember that if the variable inside of our while loop or condition doesn't get updated, it never changes, and the condition remains true, the while loop will continue executing this piece of code forever. So remember to always update your variable inside of your condition. So remember, count plus equal to 1, depending on what you're trying to do. So we can run the code again. Now that we have this increment right here, and you see Python gets printed 5 times. So always remember to update your variables inside of your conditions. So quick recap guys, a while loop repeats a block of code as long as its condition remains true. Remember to make sure that something in your loop eventually changes so that the condition becomes false. And that's it for today's episode on while loops guys. I hope you all learned something valuable. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Stay tuned and I'll see you in the next one.